Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Testing Minibytes. I'm your friend Amul Shaktivel. In this video, we are going to review some of the assignment that I have received. I have given a API assignment very recently, and this is the problem statement. And I have received 4 assignments so far, and I'll try to give personal feedbacks to each of them. I'll go very detailed as much as possible so that they can write more, cleaner code. Um, yeah, so this is a particular assignment. So if you haven't know about this, maybe you're not part of my Telegram group, please do join that, where I post a lot of assignment like this. I'll be very interactive. You get a lot of chance to speak to me or ask your questions very directly. Good. And this is the problem statement. So you are requested to create a dummy user by making a post call to this particular endpoint, and request is a very simple HTTP endpoint that is available for us to play around with. And this is a particular thing, and this endpoint is request.in/api/users, and this is the request body, and we'll get a response, simple response like this. So very, very simple thing. But the thing here is you have to drive your test with a given JSON file, and ideally there should be only one test which have to run 2 times. Maybe you use data provider, or if you're using JUnit, you can use value source or method source. Basically, I expect you to have some kind of reusability in your test method so that you can run the same test with a different set of POJOs, right? And you have seen here, this is a one request body, this is another request body, and all I want to do is receive the response, and you have to assert the response code, which is very important, the response schema, and the response time as well, and then the content type is having application JSON, and whether the response can be dereferenced back to POJO. So it's a very, very simple use case, and I have received 4 assignments. I'll take 2 of them now, in no particular order. I'll try to give as much as feedback possible. So first, I got this from Muralikrishnan 5971. It is really, really good. Also taken something from Neehal Chowdekar. This assignment is also equally good. So I'll go and try to pinpoint some of things which I noticed, which I normally do when I recruit or do review some other codes. So this is kind of a PR, okay, PR review. You can think like that. If I go very detailed, don't blame me or don't scold me. I'll try to, my intention is not to pinpoint mistakes, just to help you out to write better code. So I just pulled these 2 frameworks into my repository. Let's first take this particular one. I think we have a readme file, and this is from Neehal Chowdekar, it seems. And yeah, so good. So the good thing is, if you notice, we have a git ignore. This is really good. So he has good git ignore file, which basically removes all his IDE related stuff, which I'm not interested. The target, the test output, which is not even really um, important for me. And also, if you have target, is fine. So now, also I couldn't see a very detailed explanation on how to run this. Maybe Maven clean install test is there, well and good. But again, some details here, good. I couldn't see any Docker file, so he hasn't Dockerized the test. That's well and good, but this is very important. He's asking check for the Maven. Maybe he would have mentioned like what kind of Java version he used, uh, Maven version that is minimum required, or TestNG, or whatever the version. If you have mentioned them, it will be easy for users. Let's say he developed using Java 7 or Java 8, and I use Java 11, or he developed using Java 11 and I have Java 8. There will be some compilation issues. So maybe he could have given the versions here. That's for new users to collaborate, right? And let's go to the testng.xml. He has very simple XML, absolutely fine. Thread count as 2. He's trying to run the test methods in parallel. Absolutely fine with this. And let's go to the SRC test. And okay, he has some resources. Okay, he has some. He's maintaining the URL in a property file. Well and good. Maybe he's trying to parameterize this. Let's say I want to run it in a different environment. Maybe he can change it here, because the name here indicates it's a prod config properties. Maybe for dev or QA, he might add new ones. For now, he didn't add it. That is also a good thing, because you don't have to add something that is not really needed now. Okay, we call it as Yagni principle. You aren't going to need it at all. So I like this. And okay, we have the JSON file here. that we have given. It's good. And let's go to the test. First, first glimpse is using data provider, which is what I expected. And then he has some description. He's using data utils for class. Um, yeah, and first mistake is never make spelling mistakes in your um, create user test. Okay, maybe like this. And okay, he is feeding users, but again he's using some users builders. Getting this, I don't know, this is okay. Let's go here in the builders class. It's final private builders. He's using builder name, the method name as users builders. Is getting name and job, and again trying to construct users of office using builder pattern. That's fine, but uh, the question here is he already have users, and he don't have to repeat this step again to convert this. Maybe he just want to showcase that he has some cleaner implementation if you have just name and job. uh, but yeah, the construction cost of this particular thing is can be expensive, because in this POJO it is just 2 fields, but if it is more than 2 fields, let's say 10 or 15 fields, it will be very difficult. So we don't want to do this, but I really like the way how you do this. But there are still a lot of things that you can improve. Builders maybe for this is just bean builders or POJO builders. Again, the method name, you can try to make this as a more generic one, or I don't know the idea behind it, but I like this implementation, but this is not really needed here, right? Okay, so let's remove this. We don't need it at all. And then, uh, and what else we have? So you can basically use this same thing, right? You don't have to change anything here. And he's trying, so this is neat abstraction here. So user API dot post, I'm just interested in posting the request body I have. I don't really care given, then, when, and all that. So this is a cleaner way of hiding your implementation details, and the test is very clean. User API, I want to post a new user, very readable. I get the response out of it. I assert this, very clean. I really want to see what it has. Okay, he's accepting this request users, well and good. And rest resource dot post, whatever the user body he wants. Okay, and he's also passing the API endpoint, it seems. So this is root, well and good. But instead of root, maybe endpoints would have been much more neater, because root is a little confusing here. Maybe, but yeah, uh, endpoint would be my choice. Again, if you notice, the package name could have been different, because let's say application API. So maybe it could have, at least the package name could have been endpoints, right? And also notice it should be all in lower cases. It should not have upper cases anywhere. So take care of your package name. Always make them as lowercase, right? And this is little neat, right? He asked them here. It doesn't want to change for different environments, so no need to parameterize. Absolutely fine. Private constructors, best way. Final classes, absolutely good. Now he also has rest resource. Okay, this is the class which he use normally to construct all these things. Okay, given he constructs some base thing here, spec builder. Okay, we'll come to that. He's passing the body when he posts something. This is the path he's trying to post something. Spec, absolutely fine. Spec builder or get response spec. Okay, for the request and response, he is trying to build a request spec and response spec. uh, Instead of spec, you could have named it as get request specifications or whatever, but even this is more readable as well. So let's go here and see what this guy is doing here. So he has set base URI. He's trying to get the base URI from his config. I think he is using static imports, well and good. Set base path, I think this is slash API. Even if there is a change here, you can easily do it. Content type is JSON. Okay, log detail dot all. uh, Maybe you don't have to be, it should have been like this. Okay, I think he's using this in the request spec builder. Okay, once you get the request specification, you can do log lot all. But yeah, this is fine as well, because rest should have multiple ways of implementation. I didn't aware of that. You can do something like this. This is a new learning for me. Again, if you have something commented out, remove it. Okay, that's good. Response spec builder is also good. So he's doing nothing here. He just make sure that he has right loggers. If there is some failures, he wants to log all of them. Well and good. Let's say if you have just authorization token, make sure you are hiding it. We have ways to hide that information, so you could also include that here. But apart from that, the implementation, I really liked it. He has cleaner implementation, abstracted away a lot of complex logic, and the test is very readable until here. And here he could have done something different, which may be using an assert.j custom library, something like this. So assert that he is trying to get the header with this key, and he's trying to check all these things. It's fine, but is this assert that is where it is coming from? This assert that is coming from Hamcrust. Okay. I'm not used Hamcrust as much as this this guy did, but I'm a fan of assert.j, but this is also fine. But assert status code, he has enums. Okay, let's see, he has enums here. This is also good, and maybe here maybe I would have liked to have a private, and then you'll have get a method for this, right? So this can give you a lot of control. Some, let's say tomorrow you want to do some other implementations, you can have better control with this. Is hide your variables. That's very important. If you also have Lombok added, you can use getter, and then you could have removed these getters. So yeah, this again, take care of your vertical spacing. Don't try to give a lot of vertical spacing if you don't need them. I really like the way how we use this. Yeah, again the same mistake here. Lower cases, a better package name here, right? And let's go here. Okay, this is fine. Also, you don't have to build something like this, in my opinion, because there is something called as HTTP status from Apache, where you could use created. Okay, there is something called as SC created. We can use something like this, and it is throwing errors because okay, he is expecting status code. This could have been an int, right? So int status code and equal to status code. Okay, so very small changes. It's up to you how you want to create it, because we have all these HTTP status already implemented, so you don't have to build something on your own, in my opinion. So again, up to you. Let's again go back here. Assert users is trying to check the response. As users.class, he's trying to deserialize this and try to check whether it is equal to this. Okay, maybe he has wrapper methods. Is if you have a wrapper method, I think he has packages API verification. This is wrong. The only thing is, yeah, okay, it is okay to have wrapper methods, but keep them inside the test. Okay, test packages. When you write assert conditions inside your main, this is something that I would not recommend. Maybe you have done a lot of really good work. This may be something that you could avoid and start to write these wrapper assertions inside your test classes itself. And also that applicable same for your data utils. You are trying to use data provider, well and good, but keep it inside the test, because these are closely associated with your test and should be part of your test layers, right? So these are very tightly coupled to your test. He tried to use data supplier. I have a very good video on that. I don't know why he ignored it, but this is absolutely best way of solving this problem. Okay, I think the reason being, I think let's go to the user class. Okay, there is one user class. The package is POJO. Let's go there. Oh, I see a problem here. Okay, let's go here. So he has name and job for request, and name, job, ID, and created at for response. He tries to utilize the same thing for the request and response, which I think is a problem, right? The reason being, let's say he's trying to ignore, let's say if somebody is, any of these field is null, it'll ignore. So anywhere, wherever he is using, let's go to the user test or wherever. So here, let's say I try to create my own POJO. Okay, so let's say users dot builder, because he has given me builder, and it is easy for me to set all these fields, right? I can set these fields, and then I can, okay, I can make a mess out of your serialization process. Okay, so I don't want to do this. So this also gives me a user back, right? And so this is a problem. So anyone can create users with fields that you don't want them to do. Okay, so I would not advise you to have something like this. So let's go here to the POJO, and guys, first have request users, uh, one for your request and one for your response. That is very important. And you also already have data set, so there is no need to give getters and setters. And so yeah, once you solve this problem of splitting this particular one POJO into two different request POJO and response POJO, your code will be very, very clean. So that's the whole idea here. I'll also want to see how you approach this whole stuff. Let's go to the git log, and first commit, you added readme, you added git ignore, very, very good. You added form dependencies, testng.xml. Okay, I think this commit could have been splitted into multiple commits, right? Okay, this is neat. Okay, this is fine. Just this commit, if you have splitted this into different phases, like how you approach this problem, it'd be easy for us, right? I really liked the whole framework. Last thing, let's go and see how this form is managed. Okay, okay, and here comes. So I think it's some kind of older version. Okay, Jackson data bind is also old. uh, okay, so I think these are all little older. And then there are some comments as well. I think he's using owner library. Okay, I didn't see the code, maybe I missed it. Yeah, config. Yes, config factory. I think he watches my playlist. Yes, very cleaner implementation of this framework config. Very, very good. He manages environments. uh, can get values from your system variables, environment variables, also from here. Very, very neat. He also has exception class. Very, very neat. Runtime exceptions, invalid CSV file, but this not being used, but really, really nice, right? Good. The only one advice from me is try to not hard code these values, because let's go to the parameters. If you have parameter sections, you can add these versions there, so that you can make this as variables. So if you want to change something, you can easily do it. Okay, let's go to properties. Yeah, you have parameterized this aspect J. Same way you could have parameterized rest issue dot version, and then you could mention 5.0.0 whatever, and then here you could have directly gone here and change it to rest issue dot version, right? So if you change like this, because all these rest issue mostly uses same thing. Okay, so you can just update in one place, and these get changed in all other places as well. So this is one more comment from my side. Okay, so same way you could parameterize all these things. Good, I'm very happy. Also, just remove the command, if remove the things that whatever you don't need, just remove them. Apart from this, framework is really good. I would have expected you to write some docker file, uh, but whatever you have submitted is really good. uh, Definitely above the median or top 10 percentages, I would say. Good. So let's take another example, another framework. Let's go again. The first problem here, you are used git, there is no git ignore, and this is why I'm getting class path and project files from Eclipse. um, Target test output, no, a simple git ignore file can save you a lot of time, because I'm using IntelliJ and this is nowhere relevant to me. So yeah, please use a git ignore. And you have used docker file, very good. And he is using some base image that he has constructed. uh, okay, very good. He's using all these things. Okay, copying all the really important things. Also, he could have used docker ignore. but he is creating a working directory and doing all these things. That's also fine. Let's go to the pom.xml. Okay, he's still using 1.8. At least try to move to 1.11. Again, the same. Please parameterize these things. Okay, so that you can change in one place, it will reflect in all other places. Readme file, very good readme. I think he's telling how we want to do this. Just pull this image and run this image. Everything else will be taken care. Very good. Also, yeah, very good. Go to the test engine.xml. This is a test that he wants to run. Okay, let's go to the test. Okay, so first consideration is, if the test is larger than 5 to 6 lines of code, there is some problems. We can try to fix them. Again, let's remove this. Okay, he's trying to print the response. We don't need them now. And he's trying to validate schema. Good. He's trying to assert status code, time in. I think the previous assertion doesn't, validate the schema, but here he is doing this. Time in milliseconds is less than 5. I think he is using assert J. Really good. He's trying to check deserialized thing. So this is what he is doing. So he has separate POJO for deserialization. Okay, maybe let's go to the POJOs. Yes. So users, this is not deserialized users. There will be maybe something like create users response. Okay, or users response. So whatever. Okay. User response. Something like this, because deserialization, we don't have to put that in class name. Okay, and you could think of any better name than this. All I could think is this for now, but yeah. Config property, again guys, always when you are using something like this, 2 words, separate them by underscores. These are all conventions. Okay, I don't know, but I don't know why these small things are left behind. This basically tells you how good you are at coding. Okay, so let's go to the src folder. I can also analyze with sonarlint. These can basically find all these problems to you. Okay, and okay, let's go here. There is no sonarlint problems. Private constructors. Okay, string resource. This is not resource. This is path till current working directory. So I could have named this as current working directory, right? And this is fine. This is fine. Private static. Fine. Okay. Good. I think this is also should be renamed to response. Okay. Again, when you have private static final, we should use all of them in capital letters separated by underscores. But here he is using lambda getter. So basically, the getter method would be more readable. If I make it as all caps, it would be little ugly. So I will leave that for here. And he's also having builder classes where he is doing given base URI, he's setting the base URI, all these things. Very good. Faker util, okay, he is not reading from the file, he's trying to generate things on his own. Absolutely fine. Test data util. Okay, so if we notice very closely, he has used static here, so that there is no access modifier, which means it can be only accessed within the package. So he has clear wrapper for this test data util, and then he's trying to use this library. Very well done here, I think, because if there is some new changes in this library tomorrow, instead of dot name and dot name, they make some changes, you can directly do it here. Okay, instead of you do it here. So this is like your business layer or your service layer. I would call this as test data service. Service. Okay, something like this. Okay, and this could have been just utils. There is no request utils, just utils. Well and good. because we not only use property reader for request, we might need it for other things as well. And yes, this is kind of implementation that I used previously. Take care of your vertical spacings. It's very important for your readability. Yeah, I would recommend to read a clean code book from Robert C. Martin. But apart from that, he is using try with resources. When there is an exception, he wants to stop the program. There is no way he could throw runtime exception here. He's using system.exit 0 for each. Maybe it is suggesting you to use map.for each. So yes, we can also use this. Anything, right? This is fine. All other looks fine to me. Package names are all in lower letters. Request builder utils. This is not utils, right? So this is not an util. So you can just name it as builders as a package name. So you also do that. So builders. Hold on. Okay. And property files. There again, you could have used owner library like what Neehal Chowdekar have done. I think if we combine both of these framework, assignments, it will be really, really good. Each have done some of the good work. Let's go to the test data provider. Here he is constructing POJO himself, and then is building object data provider and then sending it. This is what I told. Maybe if you would have had, the external file, you could have used data supplier library. Guys, I have made a different video on data supplier. Okay, how it can be used to easily construct this and then return a stream of objects. It would make your code very, very clean. But this is also fine. This is absolutely fine for me. uh, just this assertion, it's alone I want to, because both of them have some mistakes in this assertion. Let's try to make this little cleaner. Okay. um, what I can do is inside since it is Java, uh, let's say I create a package called as assertions, and then the class is response assert. I want to create a wrapper. Okay, let's do it. I think he has assert J already, so I'll just extend from abstract assert. And once I extend, I have to basically tell what is this particular class, the self class, and what is the class that I will pass. So this is from here, from the IORS issue. So I'll create a constructor matching the super is good. And let's create a static method that returns response assert. So this is basically replacing the constructor call with a method call so that I can improve the readability. So here I can just name it as assert that. This is a kind of conversion. So if somebody is passing me response again, guys, I have made a video on how to use custom assertions with assert J. You can also watch that, but here let me quickly do it. Return new response assert. And to do this, what are the response I have to, so I need to just call this constructor. To call this constructor, I want two things. One is this. Okay, I passed whatever the response I got, and the other one is the current class itself. So I can put response assert dot class. Okay, put it again. Basically, instead of I'm doing this, I can basically hard code it here, right? So let's put it here, and let's remove this here. And yeah, this is now more neat, because it was using some generics and all that would be a little confusing for you, but here this is now very neat. Now I can basically tell add first, I want to validate status code, assert that status code is okay. If you pass me an int status code, all I'm going to do is asserting it. Okay, this is not static, it's going to be returning me response assert. And so when you use this abstract assert J, all the response that you passed will be available in actual variable. Okay, so I want to do assertion here. So assertions dot maybe I'll go a little different. I'll use soft assertions. Assertions equal to new soft assertions. I use soft assertions because I want to get the result of all of them. So assertions dot, so that what are the status code these guys are passing. Okay, I want to check is equal to http status dot creator. Okay, whether it is equal to this. Okay, sorry, assert that resp actual. So actual dot status code is equal to whatever the status code they passed. Let's try to do this because it is little confusing. It might be confusing. Return this. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to the post request test. Let's comment out these things and let's start with a very simple assertion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have response assert class, response assert dot assert that. So now it is asking for the response. We have response here, response. Let's put a dot. And now it is telling status code is a method is there and it's accepting a status code. Okay, I want to check whether the status code is http status dot create, or you can just pass 201. It's very simple, whatever you want to do. So now I have asserted this. After this, what I want to assert, the second one is the time, right? So let's go here, create one more method for time. Let's copy this. Response time is less than, okay, and then long, I think it's long, right? So long time in millis. Okay, guys, see the naming convention that I use. I'm not just telling time. If I just mention time, we don't know whether it is seconds or hours. So you just need to be very clear on what you're doing. So status code, instead of status code, I want to get time, and time, maybe I think it will basically give me in millis. So is I'm not going to check is equal to, is less than what of the time they are expecting. That's it. Now I go here and I add one more response time is less than, and I want it to be less than 10,000 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever the requirement is, I'll put that. And next, the third requirement is I want to validate whether the application JSON is the content type. So I'll go here, create another method. So now we are making more fluent assertions. So response header contains content type application. This is, you can parameterize this, but in this case I don't want to parameterize because it's a very simple method. So actual dot get header. So I'll just copy paste from what you have done already. Response dot get content type. Okay, and this is containing application JSON. Okay, content type. Okay, you can also get header and then pass the thing. You can also do this. Here contains ignoring case application JSON, whether it is having application JSON. That's it, right? And there is some problem here. Response header contains content type application JSON. Let's go here. And what else we could optimize here? We could also add error messages with fail message. If this assertion is failing, state, so you can say status code is not whatever the status code that you passed, right? You can change it, okay? But by default, it will provide all the assertions, okay? Good, this is fine. The same way, you could add all these things, okay? So create user response dot class, right? So now I go here, I add one more thing. So I say can be deserialized to, and you pass me the class you want, class. Okay, you pass me the class type you want. So I'm using generics here. So what are the class you pass? I want to check whether actual dot get instead of this assertions dot throw assert that should have thrown. Okay, assert that thrown by. I just want to do response. Sorry, actual dot as. Okay, and the type is class. So whatever, I'm just trying to do all these things. Okay, if there is any exception, it will automatically throw it if there is a problem with the deserialization. But in J unit, we have assert not thrown by, there will be a method. But assert J, I think it should be somewhere thrown, assert that thrown by. I don't want to check whether it is not thrown. Failed because exception was not thrown. Should have thrown. Maybe we can refactor this later point of time. But for now, this is fine. Okay, if it is not able to deserialize, it will throw error. Let's go here and add can be deserialized to create user response dot class. That's it. Very neat. So look at my assertion, guys. This is my test. This is my JSON schema validation. Again, you can also bring the JSON schema validation inside this as well. That is also possible. So assert that response is blah, 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 all of these things. But I'm using soft assertion, so I have to assert all of them at the end. Otherwise, nothing will happen. So basically, I copy this. So verify. Okay, at the end, and here I'll just mention assert dot assert all. Right, that's it. And this is going to be a last method call, so I can put void here. I don't have to return anything. I'll simply go here and just say verify. That's it. Very clean way of writing your test. Okay, again, if you want to get some values from this, you can also do that the same way like how I have did here. Okay, so now if you look at the test, we are validating all these things, but this is much readable than before, right? So let's try to run it and see what's happening. Again, guys, I could also change this like after this deserialization. So I think the base URI is null. Okay, maybe I should run it from here. Okay, I think there is still some problem, not null assert parameter. There is some problem. Okay, base URI config properties. Maybe I changed a lot of name. Maybe there may be a mistake, but the end result is this is how you can have a response assert class doing all these things, right? And this is your post request test, and your test is very clean. And guys, also after deserialization to this, you can also verify this particular class. Okay, you can create one more class like response assert. You can create user response assert, and you can change those assertion, whether the get name, get ID is there, whether string is there, all these things. If you want to do, you can also change these assertion like this. This is how you can write the code. We will also assess 2 more assessment in the next video, and I'll also give all these 4 some gifts from my side. I thought I'll give gift to 1 or 2, but all these assignments, first of all, they spend some efforts in creating these. I really appreciate that. I want to give them something. I'll do whatever it is possible. I'll review the next 2 assignments in the next video. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel. Send me your feedback. I'm constantly trying to improvise the way how I teach, how I share things, how I share my knowledge. So I'm open for feedbacks. Okay. Thank you to Muralikrishnan and Neehal Chowdekar. You guys are amazing. Your frameworks is really good. I've just done some PR review. You are among the top 10% that I have seen. So just do a little bit of sticking to your code. You can reach greater heights. Thank you again, guys. You all have a very good day. Tada, bye bye.